the other side of the aisle appears. I'm going to run and vote, and I thank Senator Baldwin for taking over the chair while I'm gone.
Yes, and I want to thank you, Chair Cantwell, for holding this hearing today. And thank you, Mr. Dickson, for your appearance here. This committee passed necessary legislation last year in response to the Boeing 737 MAX crashes, and it's critically important that we follow through with oversight as the FAA continues to implement the new law. Mr. Dickson, about a month ago, the Federal Aviation Administration announced that airports are no longer required to use firefighting foam that contains PFAS. However, that announcement is limited in its effectiveness as the FAA has not authorized the use of alternative foams. Airports and their neighboring communities in my state see this as an empty gesture. I believe it misses the intent of Congress's direction in FAA reauthorization. Residents in these communities deserve more immediate action to protect their drinking water. So what are the FAA's next steps to ensure that airports are able to transition to PFAS-free firefighting foam? And on what timeline can we expect that to happen?
Well, thanks for the question, Senator Baldwin. And this is a very important issue that we've been working very diligently, and we fully respect the intent of Congress and the legislation, and we are working to do this as rapidly as we possibly can. We've got to balance the effectiveness of the firefighting foam, which is really important for public safety in the event of a fuel fire, along with the removal of the PFAS or the fluorine-free foams. To that end, we built a test facility, and we were interrupted somewhat by COVID because of inability to be able to get on site for some period of time, but we have already conducted over 400 tests of 15 types of foam. We have not found one yet that has adequate performance. I've actually witnessed some of these tests myself, and it would be very concerning to use any one of these because it's just not as effective at putting the fire out. So in the meantime, we have taken steps that basically free airports from the use of PFAS foam for any testing certification. We've got recapture equipment out there where it doesn't need to be discharged anymore, and we will continue to do that. Really, the only occasion where PFAS foam would need to be used is for an actual aircraft fuel fire. For hot breaks, anything else, they don't need to discharge anything. We are also working very closely with DoD because this is based on a military specification, and I'm optimistic that we will have new standards set by January 2023, and we're working very closely with DoD on the research. We do the effectiveness part of the research, and they do the chemical composition.
Mr. Dickson, in previous hearings, we've discussed my bipartisan American Aviator Act. That legislation seeks to expand flight training programs for veterans who are seeking jobs as commercial airline pilots. Senator Hoeven and I secured $10 million in the fiscal year 2020 and 2021 appropriations bills for our veteran pilot training program. I'm concerned that the FAA has yet to make these funds available. While I was pleased to see FAA recently move forward with other aviation workforce development grants, it's beyond time that we put this available funding for veterans pilot training grant program to use. So could you provide me with an update of when we can expect to see the notice of available funding for veterans pilot training grant programs?
Thank you for the question, Senator Baldwin. This is something that's really important, and this is a novel grant program for us, and it took some time to set up the specific parameters. We are making good progress. With respect to the Veterans Pilot Training Grants, we are driving to issue the first grant solicitation within this calendar year. So I anticipate that you'll see the first NOFO within the next few weeks.
Very good. Senator Moran, I will now recognize you for questions.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Appreciate